Hello and welcome to Moneycontrol. Well, the IPO market has been buzzing, and the mother of all IPOs, the biggest one of them all, is going to open for subscription sometime next week. 25,000 crores is the issue size, which is the largest in Indian capital market history. The company is valued at $19 billion. It's the second largest passenger vehicle company, Hyundai Motors India. I'm Mahalakshmi, and I have with me the top management of Hyundai Motors India to talk to me about the company, this IPO, and what investors should know. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining me for this discussion. First of all, Hyundai is one of the rare companies which has had an absolutely spectacular journey in India. Lots of players have come and gone. Some of them just packed their bags and went back home against formidable, position that the leading player, Maruti, has been in India. Tell us about how you see growth over the next 3 to 5 years, given that this money that you're raising is not going to fund growth. How do you see it?
So if you see, Hyundai has been successful in India for more than 26 plus years now. And, we have always believed in giving respect. We have always believed in introducing India-centric products to India. We have a very strong advantage in terms of a very strong parent because we have access to all technologies. You have seen our history that we started with Santro, i10, of course the Creta, then we introduced the Blue Link through Venue, the Ioniq 5, which raised the benchmark of EVs in India. So we have always believed in bringing those world-class features and world-class models to India. At the same time, we have believed in quality of growth. So not only in terms of volume or market share, we have kept an eagle's eye on the margins as well. And I think that has made us sustainable. You talked about India being not such an easy market, but I think this kind of an approach has really helped us to really connect with the Indian communities, make a very strong brand in India, and always try to raise the benchmark.
Fair enough. And how do you see the growth panning out over the next 2 to 3 years? What are the timelines of some of the expansion moves that are underway?
Yes, if you see the CAGR for the industry, Indian industry, it has been 5%. Whether you see a 5-year CAGR or a 10-year CAGR, even CRISIL is forecasting 4.5% to 6% CAGR for the next 5 years as well. As you know, we have the current capacity of 824,000. The Pune plant kicks in with a phase 1 in H2 of calendar 25, which will add 170,000 to the capacity, and then additional 80,000 will come in calendar 28. So you can see that total capacity will be close to 1.1 million and almost 30% more than the current capacity. So it should take care of not only the domestic but also the export requirements in the next few years.
So on that basis, what kind of headroom for growth will you project for the next 2 to 3 years?
So like I said, it is always very difficult to exactly pinpoint that what kind of growth you can have. But what is important is what are your strategies? I think that is very important. And like I mentioned, our strategies are focused around one, looking for opportunities in terms of introducing new models, new technologies, EV space, premiumization, which is a very key part of our strategy to introduce features. Going forward, software-defined vehicles, infotainment are becoming very popular. Then we introduce the ADAS, and today 8 out of 13 Hyundai models have ADAS. So we believe a lot in safety. So I think all those strategies should help us to really grow sustainably in the future as well. And of course, the capacity will give us headroom for that.
Can you give us some clear picture of the pipeline of products? I mean, anything that is coming up in the next 1 to 3 years?
So if you see, this year we introduced the Creta facelift, which has received a great response from the market. Then last month we introduced the Alcazar facelift as well. Again, a very, very good response from the market. Creta EV is going to be launched in the Q4 of financial 25. I cannot tell you specifically the models, but what I can only tell you is if you see our history, we have always been ahead of the curve in terms of identifying opportunities and launching products. So there is no reason to believe that we will not do in the future. We will definitely look at all the opportunities which exist.
Fair enough. How do you see the demand scenario pan out? Because that's been a little iffy. At this point in time, over the next 1 year, I would say near to medium term, how do you see demand seen?
So we are very optimistic about the Indian auto market. I think it has really given a very good growth if you see the CAGR of 5%. But yes, post-COVID, there was a pent-up demand because of which the industry saw a 22% growth, and then of course 8.5% growth last year also. So on a high base of last year, we are looking at a single-digit growth this year, which I think is very good. So we are quite optimistic about the auto industry, and I don't see too many headwinds. Yes, last 3 months, of course, because of heat waves, because of floods in some areas, and of course June, July, August, September are generally off-season months for the industry. Now we are entering the festival season, and we are all seeing good footfalls in the showrooms, good inquiries, good bookings, good retails. So I don't think there is any doubt about the mid-term and long-term growth story in India.
You're still not giving us numbers, but I will let that be. In terms of competition scenario, with respect to Maruti, of course, because it's a leading player with 42% market share, you've done better. But with respect to the other Indian players, let's say Tata Motors or Mahindra & Mahindra, their market share growth, obviously coming from a smaller base, has been stupendous over the last 2 to 3 years. In the hierarchy of competition, if I put Maruti in the first bracket, the Indian players in the second bracket, and everyone else in the third bracket, how do you view the hierarchy of competition? Who are the guys you want to punch out and go after? Does that thinking sort of shape what kind of products you will bring, what kind of playing field you will play in?
I would say that we believe in giving respect to all competition. So I don't think there is any hierarchy. For all these 26 years, why Hyundai has been successful is because we believe in very strong fundamentals. We believe that we have to give value to the customer, we have to give technology to the customer, and we have to see that how we are able to use the strong R&D capabilities of HMC, at the same time the knowledge we gain from the market research which we have in India, and marry the two and bring the world-class technologies to India. I think that has been the mantra, and we want to continue on the same path of quality of growth, looking at volume, looking at market share, looking at profit, and of course, then everything falls into place. So we don't believe in targeting any specific competition or running after something.
But in a market like India, where you have all these multifaceted players, and each one is trying to occupy a certain territory, I don't know if I should call it territory, but dominate a certain segment, shouldn't the strategy be very clear in terms of where and what you will compete against?
No, because if you see the past 26 years, competition has always been there. And and they have been successful, some of them not so much. But what is important is what is your strategy? I think that is important. How are you able to identify trends? I'll give you an example. In 2015, India was primarily a hatch market. SUVs used to contribute only 13% of the industry. Suppose we had just seen the competition, probably we would not have brought in the Creta. But I think what is important is because of the capabilities of HMC and our success in US, Korean, European markets, we could see that yes, Indian market will sooner than later go to SUVs. And that is how we were able to launch the Creta. And today if you see, the SUV contribution has reached 50% for the industry, 52% for the industry, and 68% for us. So I think what is very important is that while you have an eye on what is happening, at the same time, you should have a very strong fundamental long-term strategy. I think that helps you to navigate and respond very, very quick to all the challenges which come your way.
Sure. Any product that you think can do the same trick that Creta has done for you, that you are bullish about?
We have always introduced, looked at opportunity. If you see the history, whether it was i20, which was again a category creator, or the Creta, the Venue, the Exter. So I think all of them in their own way have been marquee brands. I cannot divulge you the future product portfolio, but yes, like Creta EV, which we have already announced in the RHP, we believe in the EV segment, this could be, one very huge opportunity for us, because Creta is a very strong brand. And in the EV space, India still has a long way to go. So we believe this could be again a game changer in the EV segment.
Fair enough. Some of the feedback from investors that I talked to, one of the concerns is that between Kia and Hyundai, how do you really straddle these two platforms, these two brands and companies? Are there any conflict points? What are the guiding principles? How do you navigate this in a way that is not detrimental to the listed shareholders?
Hyundai Motor Group is the third largest OEM globally, and globally Hyundai and Kia are operating differently according to their strategy and plans. These two brands, Hyundai and Kia, are working successfully in the global market, in the US, European market, and the Korean market also. So now it's the same as in India.
I guess the difference is that you will have a listed company, a local listed company only in India. And I think the question of conflict arises only when you have a second listed player.
No, actually, it's like any other competition, frankly speaking. And as long as all your policies, strategies are on an arm's length basis, it doesn't matter. So if I need a product, I raise my hand and request my HMCO, I need this product. I have this kind of a strategy. So similarly, everybody else will be doing it. So frankly speaking, we don't see too much of a difference. We have always believed in very strict standards of corporate governance. We have a board which is guided by very, very strong independent directors. So going forward, we believe, like we have done in the past, we will further like to take the global standards in terms of governance. So I don't think there should be any issues relating to that.
Yeah, because the concerns are more around the layering and the way the shareholding structure is. That's where I think the concerns really stem from. And there are also concerns around the luxury segment. That's not part of the listed entity for India. So does that limit opportunity for you?
If you see the opportunities, of course, Kia came in India in 2019. You can see that what was our sales volume that time and how we have been able to increase our sales volume. Creta, probably there's so many competition in the Creta segment, but you can see it continues to have not only a segment leadership, but the volumes keep on growing. This year also Creta volumes have grown double digit over last year, and double digit last year again it had grown before that in double digits. So I think it is more about how you leverage your strengths. So we have been in India for 26 plus years. We have a strong customer base of 8.5 million plus customers. We are into hatch, we are into sedans, we are into SUVs, we have CNG, we have petrol, we have diesel, we have turbo. I think we believe very strongly to build on these fundamentals. And then, of course, competition will take care of itself as long as you are strong in your strategies and as long as you work on your fundamentals.
Sure. In terms of luxury play, do you feel left out? How do you address that segment? Because that's been a really buzzing segment in India. It's been the fastest growing segment. How do you sort of play that?
If you see, luxury is also kind of becoming more and more people are wanting luxury. So our movement from, say, hatches to SUVs was also a big step up. Then we moved further up, of course, whether it was Creta, whether it was Alcazar. Going forward also, we know that this segment, luxury segment, is growing very fast. Globally, we have access to all kind of brands and technologies. So at the right time, we will see, in case there's an opportunity to say look at introducing the Genesis brand, which our parent enjoys. But at the same time, at this point of time, we are focusing on the Hyundai brands, and of course, we believe that going forward, this will really give us good success.
Okay. Another point I pick up is that the Hyundai Indonesian company is going through expansion, and that is primarily targeted at export sales to cater to the Asian market. Does that sort of cap some sort of an upside? Is that going to eat into or reduce the total addressable export market for Hyundai?
In terms of export, currently Hyundai is the second largest exporter and largest exporter on a cumulative basis. HMC, our parent company, has a strong overseas sales network across more than 190 countries. We are positioning HMI as a production hub for emerging market in the Middle East, Africa, South Asia, and the Central and South America. Our product lineup is very suitable for emerging market. We are manufacturing and exporting our cost-optimized vehicle to the more than 80 countries. We have a healthy mix of the export and domestic, which give us not only profit but also some natural hedge against the market fluctuation.
But will both Hyundai India and Indonesia target the Asian market?
Look, we are segregated by models. I think this is something which we must understand. So it's not about any other plant. It is about the models which we produce. So like MD said, our models are very suitable for the Middle East, for the Latin America, South America, Asia, Africa. So I think that is what the differentiating factor is.
So that is cast in stone. That's a clear division in terms of what you will produce, what they will produce.
So like I said, yes, the models is what differentiates. Look, to the same distributor, maybe we will be exporting the cars which we produce, and maybe HMC or other some plant will be exporting the models which they produce. So for example, HMC products are more for the developed markets, So their products are very different from our products. So market could be same, but to the same distributor, we will be exporting our products and they will be exporting their products.
Okay, the other concern is around related party transactions. Of course, lots of companies that are owned by MNCs do have related party transactions, but yours is particularly high at 45%. How do you explain this? How do you dispel this concern? Is there something you will do differently to ensure that investors are comforted?
So if you see, what is important is that HMG is now the third biggest auto OEM in the world, and we have a very strong ecosystem. And I think this one reason for our success in India is that access to that ecosystem in terms of quality. Like for example, when the semiconductor crisis happened after the COVID, Hyundai India was able to really come out much faster. So I think this is a huge advantage. As far as related party is concerned, everything is done on an arm's length basis, certified by our auditors. Like I mentioned, we have a very strong board guided by independent directors. So it's a win-win.
Okay. One last question. What were the considerations when you were thinking of valuing this issue? Of course, you would have got feedback from merchant bankers, but again, investors point out that Hyundai India is just about 7 to 8% of the overall revenue and profits compared to the global company, but in terms of market cap, India is going to be 42% of the global market cap. How do you explain this?
So valuation, I leave it to the bankers, but what is more important is how do you see the Hyundai's performance? So if you see financial year 24, we had a revenue of close to 70,000 crores and an EBITDA of 13%. So we have consistently tried to give value. If you see our history in India also, we have always given dividends to our shareholders. Going forward, we will see that depending on, of course, our capex, cash flow, and of course looking at the industry best practices. Once the financial year 25 is over, we will look at our dividend policy as well. So we have always believed in enhancing the shareholder value, and will continue to do that in the future as well.
Sure. Thank you so much, gentlemen. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much, and all the very best.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.